What's up, guys? We are back with a big Week 11 of college football picks for Saturday, November 9th. In Week 10, we put up some very good wins there, finishing things up 5-2-1 overall. Time to get back to work and find some more wins out there today. We've got a great video for you in this one, covering a ton of games and giving you my best leans on the side and over-under on each game. And we have a bunch of plays headed straight to the pinned comment. If you want to win all of your bets today here in Week 11, hit that like button. It's good luck and show support for the channel and all the hard work we're putting in every single day. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on our daily content, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on the value of the early lines. You can now also sign up for a channel membership by clicking the little join button right below the video. Members get exclusive early access to all NFL and college football videos and get their names up on screen just like right now. I really appreciate the support from all of you. Seeing that badge next to your comments keeps me fired up and motivated to make this channel even bigger and better. Our videos are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com. We have a team of experienced cappers over there for every major sport, currently covering NFL, college football, NBA, NCAA basketball, NHL, and the UFC. NCAA football has been one of our most profitable sports over the years, and we have a seasoned expert capper over there that has been killing it so far this season, and he has a bunch of premium picks already posted over there at StumpTheSpread.com. Click the link in the description if you're interested in signing up, and also to join our free email list to get the occasional free or premium pick straight to your inbox. Also, if you're interested in peer-to-peer betting with only 1% juice, click the link in the description to check out BetOpenly.com, where you can make all of your favorite bets and even act as the house on parlays, where you only need one leg to win to cash your bet. Comment below with any bets you're looking at today, and we will give you our best advice on all of them. We are committed to responding to every single comment every day, so let us know anything you want to say about my picks, these videos, or anything you see here. As always, our favorite picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into our first game of the day. We've got the Florida Gators going on the road to take on the number 5 Texas Longhorns. The Gators, guys, they come into this game fresh off a tough loss there against Georgia. They actually played relatively well, coming up on the short end there, 34-20. Not a disaster game necessarily by the Gators, but at 4-4 on the season, obviously they're falling a bit below, what their expectations were for their season. We saw Warner not really have a great day. Really, quarterback play has been a big problem here for Florida. Not looking amazing out there. In total, with 2 quarterbacks going to add it out there, they completed 9 of 30 passes against Georgia. 9 out of 30. That is crazy to me. Only 1 touchdown pass. The running game was really their only source of offense there, and it didn't look amazing either. 115 yards, but that took them 38 carries to get. We also had some big negative runs out there, so yeah, just not a lot of good stuff from Florida. Georgia was pretty much dominating them in that game. The Gators offense really got very little going out there, so yeah, not a lot of positives there for Florida on offense. And on defense, they did do some positive things, guys. They had 3 interceptions, which is a great look, but they got gashed by the Georgia running game, so that's not an ideal situation, and they failed to force any turnovers aside from those 3 interceptions. So yeah, usually when you win the turnover battle there 3-2, you expect to be a little bit closer than 34-20, but yeah, just not a great game there for the Gators. Still have a lot to work on this season, and 8 games into the year, not really the time you want to be making big adjustments there. Quarterback, a situation that's looking absolutely terrible for the Gators right now. So we'll see what they can do here going on the road to take on the Texas Longhorns, who are 7-1 on the season. They had a nice bounce back there after that loss against Georgia. They lost 30-15. They followed that up with a nice 27-24 win over a very spunky Vanderbilt team, and that game was played at Vanderbilt, so a gutsy win there by the Longhorns in a very, very close game. They'll definitely take that. It went right down to the wire there. We saw decent stuff from Ewers, guys. I mean, 3 touchdowns, but 2 interceptions, 288 yards is nice, but you can't be putting up negative 20 rushing yards. That's not a great look, and yeah, just in general, guys, you've got to take better care of the ball. 2 interceptions is a great way to end up losing a game. The running game did look pretty decent there. I mean, Wisner had 79 yards and 17 carries. Blue had 47 yards on 10 carries of his own, so not a lot of negatives there. That's a pretty good day there for the Texas running attack. In general, the wide receiver group looked pretty good. I mean, DeAndre Moore Jr., a monster, 6 receptions, 91 yards, 2 touchdowns for him. No turnovers aside from those 2 interceptions, so that's nice. On the defensive side, guys, they did generate a couple of interceptions and picked up a fumble, so yeah, good stuff there. They gave up a decent amount to the run, not a crazy amount to the pass. They did give up a couple of passing touchdowns, but not an amazing. I mean, they gave it 24 points against a pretty good defense, so I'm not going to talk a bunch of crap about the Texas defense in this game, but it just felt like they could have done a little bit better out there, although the offense was not always putting them in good positions. So we'll see what the Longhorns can do in this matchup, guys. Looking at the trends for this one, Florida, they are 5-3 against the spread, 5-3 to the over. Texas, 5-3 against the spread. Also, they are 4-2-2 to the under this season. Looking at the numbers for this one, the Longhorns, -21.5. we've got an over-under of 47. Guys, I like the Texas Longhorns to go out there and get the blowout win and cover for this one. Florida's in a tough spot with their top 2 quarterbacks out, and we don't have a ton of confidence in their third-string quarterback coming through on the road in a tough environment. Florida headed into the second leg of a brutal back-to-back road trip coming off of a neutral site loss against Georgia. Texas has had an extra week to prepare for this matchup, and we look for Texas to have a strong performance as they put their weak results against Georgia and Vanderbilt behind them. In terms of the over-under of 47 for this game, I'm leaning a little bit towards the over. That's a pretty small number, and I think we'll see enough offense, across the board here, especially from the Longhorns. I am a little bit worried about Florida's quarterback situation, though, so the over in this game, not my favorite play. Definitely liking the Longhorns here, minus 21.5. Next up, guys, we're looking at the number 3 Georgia Bulldogs going on the road to take on number 16 Ole Miss in one of the marquee games of the day. Georgia, they come into this one obviously ranked 3rd in the nation. They are 7-1 overall. Their only loss this season was in that absolutely insane game there against number 4 Alabama. Their last few weeks have looked nice. Obviously, that win over Florida we were just talking about, a win at Texas, so that's a good one as well. A win over Mississippi State, a win over Auburn. They have been pretty much cruising this season with, the exception of that one loss. Last week against Florida, we saw very good stuff from the Bulldogs in general. Obviously, it would be nice if Carson Beck wouldn't have got picked off 3 times, but he did pass for over 300 yards. So, yeah, a little bit of a double-edged sword. If you're going to ask him to pass the ball 40 times, things could get a little bit dicey out there. But, a couple touchdowns as well. Not a terrible day for him. If you, take off 2 of those interceptions, it's a great day. So, need to limit those mistakes a little bit. The running game looked great. Dylan Bell had a 33-yard run of his own. We saw Frazier put up 82 yards and a touchdown on 19 carries. This is a Georgia Bulldogs team that absolutely can and will run the ball, and they're going to do that against pretty much any opponent. So we'll see if they can get it going here. The wide receiver group, nobody had an insane standout day there against Florida, but lots of solid contributors there, and the defense was very good as well, guys. They did give up 20 points, but they dominated against that banged-up Florida quarterback group. They also did a good job against the Florida rushing attack, really making things tough there, and they generated a total of 2 turnovers in the game. So, enough to keep things very, very close and enough to put their team in a position to win the game comfortably. So, yeah, good stuff there from Georgia. They've got a tough opponent in front of them in this one, guys, in the Ole Miss Rebels, who are currently 16th in the nation at 7-2 on the season. Got to be feeling pretty good about last week. They put it on Arkansas. That was at Arkansas. They won 63-31, so a dominant performance there. Week before that, they beat OU. Week before that, they did take a tough loss, but it was by 3 points, and it was at number 13 LSU. So got to cut Ole Miss a little bit of slack for this one, guys. And last week at Arkansas, everything was clicking there. No doubt about that. We saw a great performance there from Dart, 515 passing yards and 6 touchdowns. He completed 25 of 31 passes, was not intercepted, just dominant stuff. The running game looked good as well. Got 44 carries for 132 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Obviously, you see that kind of passing game, you're seeing some sort of insane numbers being put up by the wide receivers. And Jordan Watkins, guys, 8 receptions for 254 yards, and he caught 5 of those touchdowns. Absolute insanity, guys. A wild day out there. Ole Miss really taking it to Arkansas now, and got to feel great about how the offense played. The defense did okay. They didn't look amazing against the run. That's a definite concern here, giving up 3 rushing touchdowns and 127 yards on the ground. They also didn't look that insane against the passing attack either, guys. So, yeah, I definitely have a few concerns here about the Ole Miss defense. It's not like they've been that nuts this season. They did force a couple turnovers there, so, yeah, I'm not going to talk too bad about them here. They came away with a blowout win as well, but they're, this is a good defense. I'd take most of it back, guys. They're 6th in the nation, allowing 13.2 points per game. Obviously, a lot of those crazy numbers have came against some pretty weak opponents, and they haven't looked quite as good against great teams. But we'll see what they can do in this one. I, generally speaking, don't think either one of these teams is in a terrible spot. Can't give you my lean on the side in this one, guys. We have a premium pick over at stumpthespread.com. But in terms of the over/under, we've got some trends to look at, guys. Georgia, they are 5-3 to the under. Ole Miss is 7-2 to the under this season. The under is 7-1 in the last 8 November games that Ole Miss played at home. The under is 4-1 in the last 5 November games that Georgia has played as road favorites. So definitely give me the under in this game. I think it's some pretty decent value, but you definitely want to go over to stumpthespread.com and check out our premium play on that game against the spread. Hey guys, jumping in here with a quick ad break. This is a great time to sign up at stumpthespread.com. Signing up for a premium membership gets you access to our entire team of cappers covering NFL, college football, NBA, NHL, UFC, and NCAA NCAA basketball, which is just starting up and has been one of our most profitable sports over the years. We make things extremely easy for you with pick notifications directly to your phone and unit sizes assigned to each play so you can see where our confidence level is on every individual matchup. To test out the service before you buy, join our free email list to get the occasional free or premium pick straight to your inbox. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you're new, and also if you want to experience peer-to-peer sports betting while paying almost zero juice, click the link in the description to sign up at BetOpenly.com. Now guys, back to the games. Moving right along here, guys, we've got the Syracuse Orange. They're going on the road to take on Boston College. Syracuse comes in this game fresh off of a nice 38-31 win there over Virginia Tech, and at 6-2 on the season. They're not having too bad of a time. It obviously took overtime there against Virginia Tech, and Syracuse got down big. They came through for us in the end, though. There were a lot of people talking bad about that Syracuse pick in the comment, and then Syracuse comes back there in the second half, forces overtime, and then wins by a touchdown in overtime. So we'll definitely take that one, put it on the board. Syracuse got a great game there from Kyle McCord. Maybe not an amazing first half. He was picked off once in the game, but 2 passing touchdowns, 280 yards, completed 24 of 35 passes. So very little wrong with that. We also saw LaQuint Allen have a massive game. 21 carries, 121 yards on the ground for him, and 3 rushing touchdowns. So definitely a team that can move it through the air, move it on the ground. I'm expecting good stuff here from Syracuse in this game, no doubt about that. The receiving group continues to look good out there. They did take, I will say, okay care of the ball. They fumbled it away once and were intercepted once, so 2 turnovers, usually a bit of a tough look, but they did generate a couple turnovers of their own. The Syracuse defense isn't one that I'm necessarily going to write home about, but they did allow 1 touchdown pass and 206 yards through the air. They did give up 250 yards on the ground, but that took 48 carries. They also give up 3 rushing touchdowns, so definitely struggling against the run here is something of a concern, but we'll see what they can do out there. Maybe they can pack the box a little bit and make things a little bit tougher on their opponent in this game, which is going to be the Boston College Eagles, guys. They come into this one 4-4 in the season. They're actually on a 3-game losing streak. They lost at UVA, at Virginia Tech, and then they lost last week at home playing against Louisville. 4-4 in the season, 4-4 out there in the ACC probably doesn't feel amazing. I mean, they're 1-3 in the ACC, 4-4 overall. So we'll see if they've got a bounce back in them, guys. I mean, last week we saw Castellanos have a great game, 3 passing touchdowns, 164 yards. He was only 13 of 28 though, so yeah, not a great day in terms of completion percentage. The running game did look pretty good, guys. 154 yards on 41 rushes and 1 rushing touchdown. The receiving group isn't anything to write home about necessarily, but I don't know, guys. It's a little bit tough to say anything, like super crazy about this offense. I mean, they're currently averaging somewhere around 26.5 points per game. That's 84th in the NCAA. Like, that's not incredibly bad, but it's also not incredibly great. So we'll see what they're able to do here against, a mediocre, I'll say. Probably mediocre is the safest way to put it. Defense there for Syracuse. The Boston College defense did not have a great time against Louisville. They gave up 330 passing yards. They did have a couple of interceptions, but also gave up 2 passing touchdowns. They struggled against the run, giving up a couple touchdowns there. They did generate a fumble, and generating 3 turnovers in a game is great. And if you turn the ball over 0 times, you expect to win. They still found a way to lose that game. So definite concerns here for Boston College. And looking at the numbers, guys, the Eagles are -2.5 here playing at home. We've got an over-under out there of 52.5. Syracuse 4-4 against the spread. Boston College 4-3-1 against the spread. Both teams showing some slight trends towards the under. Guys, I like Syracuse at +2 in this game quite a bit. We haven't been as high on Boston College and the Eagles. They've faded into the bottom portion of the ACC with that 1-3 record there in league play. Boston College has fallen in 3 straight games. They lost at home against Louisville, which isn't a great look, and Syracuse picked up a solid resume-building win there over Virginia Tech in their last outing, and outside of their loss at Pittsburgh, the Orange have been one of the better performing teams in the ACC over the past month, so definitely like Syracuse here at +2 quite a bit. In terms of that over-under of 52.5, I'm leaning slightly towards the over in this game, but it's not an over-under spot that I'm necessarily in love with. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the Navy Midshipmen going on the road to take on the South Florida Bulls. The Midshipmen come into this game 6-2 on the season, but they've lost their last 2 in a row. They lost against number 12 Notre Dame. Okay, fair enough. You're probably supposed to lose that one as Navy, but they followed that up with a 24-10 loss against Rice. That one cannot feel good. A team that's well below them in the standings there in the American, so they're going to be looking for a big bounce back in this one. In that loss at Rice, guys, the Midshipmen just could not seem to, get on the right track. They had 2 passing interceptions there. That's not a great look. Only 140 rushing yards there on 40 attempts, so not what they're used to seeing, not what we're used to getting here from Navy. They've had a pretty good season so far, but the last couple of weeks have looked a bit rough. They didn't fumble the ball away at all, so that's nice, but still 2 turnovers in the game, not a great day, and only scoring 10 points, a pretty bad look. On defense, they gave up 24 points, so not amazing. They did generate an interception. They gave up 239 passing yards, so not an insane day, and they also did okay against the run, but not against Dean Connors, guys. He had 105 yards on 18 carries and 2 touchdowns, so definitely room for improvement here. Navy did have generated 2 turnovers in the game, so that's something positive, but yeah, just not a very good day for Navy. So they're going to be looking to bounce back here, going up against the South Florida Bulls, who come into this game 4-4 in the season, 2-2 in American play this year. Their last time out, guys, they got a nice 44-21 win there at FAU. Not the toughest opponent, obviously, but they'll take the wins where they can get them, because it hasn't necessarily been the easiest season here for the Bulls. In that win that they had over FAU, they didn't jump out to a particularly great start, guys. They were actually down 14-7 there going into halftime, but they put up an insane 24 points in the third quarter, 13 points in the fourth quarter to win the game convincingly. Bryce Archie, 2 touchdown passes, 206 passing yards, no interceptions, so good stuff there, but it was the running game that really put things over the top there for South Florida. They had 319 rushing yards, 4 rushing touchdowns on 43 rushing attempts. So very, very good stuff there. They did a good job taking care of the ball in the game. 0 turnovers out there. And on defense, guys, they generated 1 turnover of their own. They did give up 306 passing yards, which is something of a concern. They also were not very good against the run, giving up 2 rushing touchdowns and a bunch of long runs. So yeah, a definite concern here about the South Florida defense, not looking the sharpest out there. So they could have their hands full here against the Navy midshipmen. South Florida, they are getting 3.5 points in this one. We've got an over-under of 56.5. Navy 5-3 on the season against the spread. They are 7-1 to the over. USF 4-4 against the spread and 4-3-1 to the under. Guys, I like Navy here at -3.5. They've been one of the hottest teams in college football, or had been up until the last couple of weeks, but now we get the midshipmen with a bit of a discount given their back-to-back losses against Notre Dame and Rice. Obviously, that loss against Notre Dame, not a game they're ever going to win, but that loss against Rice doesn't look great. We give Navy a little leeway with their loss at Rice last week, given the ridiculous number of lengthy weather delays they had to sit through as the road team. That cannot feel good. South Florida ranks 97th in the nation in total defense, and we're skeptical the Bulls will be able to consistently slow down that Navy ground game. So definitely liking Navy in this one quite a bit. And I also think there's reason to take the over 56.5 in this game, as Navy, I think, is just going to have a lot of success scoring a lot of points in this game. But definitely my favorite lean in this one is the midshipmen at -3.5. Jumping in with our first ever sportsbook ad, guys, and I am super excited to tell you about BetOpenly. They are unlike any regular sportsbook out there. Their whole goal is to facilitate peer-to-peer betting. So instead of them having a vested interest in you winning or losing your bet, they just want to match you up with a real person who wants the opposite side. At BetOpenly, you will be paying drastically reduced juice on your bets, close to 1% instead of the 10% you would pay at any of the big guys. Not having to fight that built in-house edge sounds pretty great to me. BetOpenly supports all your favorite bets, including props and parlays, and get this, guys, you can even be the house on parlays, meaning you only need a single leg to win to cash your bet. Most importantly, BetOpenly will never limit your account for being a consistent winner, which is something that happens all the time on the bigger sites. If you're interested in signing up, click the referral link in the description of this video and let's cash some bets. Now, guys, back to the games. Rolling right along here, guys, we've got number 23 Clemson. They're going on the road to take on the Virginia Tech Hokies. Clemson comes into this game 6-2 on the season, fresh off of a 33-21 loss last week, guys, against Louisville. Yeah, not a great look there for Clemson. Obviously a game that they are supposed to be winning. They just could not figure it out there. They tried to make a big comeback in the fourth quarter, but that didn't really work out. The passing game didn't look great, guys. Klubnik completed only 33 of 56 passes. Don't really think that's how you want to be playing if you're Clemson either. You don't want to be passing the ball 56 times, but he did a good job taking care of the ball, not intercepted at all, threw for 1 passing touchdown, but it was the running game that kept them in this one, guys. Just 222 yards on 45 carries and 2 rushing touchdowns. So some very nice stuff there. Klubnik himself only ran for 43 yards on 12 carries, so not an amazing day from him, and none of the wide receivers really went nuts out there. No huge plays, but really Clemson did a great job taking care of the ball. They just couldn't find a way to stop Louisville, which, yeah, yeah, a little bit embarrassing, guys. You allowed a team to put up 33 points despite not passing for a touchdown and only passing for 156 yards. Clemson gave up 210 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground on only 27 carries. They just did not have any answers there. They didn't generate any turnovers of their own. So yeah, just a rough day out there for Clemson. So they're going to be looking to bounce back here, going on the road to take on Virginia Tech. They are 5-4 this season. They are 6th in the ACC right now, or tied for 6th, obviously. Their last game was that tough one at Syracuse. They just could not figure things out there. And yeah, in the second half, things fell apart and they eventually ended up losing in overtime. Yeah, not a terrible quarterback play there from Schlee. I mean, 206 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 16 of 24, and no interceptions. So nice, but not elite. In terms of the running game, that's where Virginia Tech really wants to, make their hay. They had 249 yards on 48 carries and 3 rushing touchdowns. So they're definitely going to be wanting to establish the run here early and often against Clemson. That will clearly be their goal. They did fumble it away twice, something to definitely work on in this game, and that's a big part of why they lost there against Syracuse. They also struggled against the Syracuse passing attack. They weren't amazing against the run either. They did generate a couple turnovers, so that's something positive. But yeah, Virginia Tech did not necessarily have a banner day there on defense. Looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Hokies are getting 6.5 points playing at home. We got an over-under of 53.5. Clemson 4-4 against the spread this season, 4-4 to the over/under. Virginia Tech 5-4 against the spread, and they're 6-3 to the over. Guys, I like Virginia Tech here at plus 6.5. Clemson simply isn't the powerhouse they've been previously under Dabo Swinney, and we saw that from the Tigers in their last outing at home, which resulted in that 21-33 loss against Louisville. Clemson has consistently come through against the mid and lower tier opponents they've faced this season, but they've lost by double digits in their 2 toughest matchups. We don't have a ton of confidence in Clemson coming up big in a tough spot on the road. I feel like Virginia Tech is better than their record would indicate, and the Hokies are a team that's been playing better ball over the past month. I like Virginia Tech a lot in this spot. In terms of that over-under of 53.5, I would side slightly towards the over here probably, but yeah, guys, not an over-under spot that I'm necessarily in love with. Definitely liking the Hokies here at plus 6.5. Next up, guys, we're looking at the South Carolina Gamecocks. They're going on the road to take on the Vanderbilt Commodores there in an SEC showdown. South Carolina comes into this game fresh off a big win, guys. They got the 44-20 win there over number 10 Texas A&M. So a very, very solid win there. 2 nice wins in a row, a 35-9 win there at Oklahoma the week before. But yeah, South Carolina playing well right now. In that nice win they had over Texas A&M, they did storm the field, so cool stuff there for sure. They had a very good day there from Sellers. He had 244 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He also ran for 106 yards and a touchdown as well, so great stuff there. Raheem Sanders, 20 carries, 144 yards and 2 touchdowns for him, and he broke off a 52-yard run. That was great. We saw Joshua Simon, 4 receptions for 132 yards and 2 touchdowns for him. Just a banner day out there for the South Carolina offense in general. They played amazing. On defense, giving up only 20 points there to Texas A&M is a great day. They had an interception, only gave up 206 passing yards. They were decent, maybe not dominant, but decent against the run. Although if you take away that 156-yard run there from Amari Daniels, it would have been a dominant day. They did generate 2 turnovers in the game, so that helps. When you force 2 turnovers and only turn it over once yourself, you're going to put yourself in a great chance to win this game. So yeah, love what we saw from South Carolina last week. They're going to be trying to replicate that here as they go on the road to take on the Vanderbilt Commodores, who they're 6-3 on the season. They're 3-2 there in SEC play. They come into this game fresh off a nice win there at Auburn. They won 17-7, a nice bounce back after a 27-24 disappointing loss. In a game they felt like they had their chances against number 5 Texas. In that win last week at Auburn, guys, obviously, pretty nice stuff there for Vanderbilt. A tough, low-scoring game. Pavia only completed 9 of his 22 passes, but he had 2 passing touchdowns and 143 yards, so that had to feel pretty good. The Vanderbilt rushing game couldn't get anything going, only 84 yards there on 38 carries. So yeah, not a banner day there for the offense necessarily, although they did do a good job of taking care of the ball. Got to give them credit there. The credit for this win in general, though, goes to the defense, guys. The Vanderbilt defense gave up only 7 points. They gave up that 1 touchdown. There was a passing touchdown, and they dominated in the ground game, guys. They were not letting that Auburn running game get going at all. They bent but not broke against Peyton Thorne there in the passing attack, and yeah, just a very good game. They generated 1 turnover. That was enough. A 17-7 win there for Vanderbilt. They had to feel very, very good about that one, guys. And looking at the numbers for this game, we see Vanderbilt's getting 6.5 playing at home. We got an over-under of 45.5 out there. South Carolina, they're 6-2 against the spread. They are 5-3 to the over. Vanderbilt 7-2 against the spread and 5-3-1 to the over as well. Guys, we liked South Carolina at -3.5 quite a bit earlier in the week, but we've seen this move a ton. It's all the way up to Vanderbilt plus 6.5 now. So yeah, I mean, we're taking a risk here betting against a Vanderbilt team that's been very impressive against tough opposition in the SEC this season. This is more of a pro South Carolina bet than anything, as the Gamecocks have quietly looked like one of the better teams in the SEC over the past few weeks. South Carolina looked great in their dominant victory against Texas A&M last week, and we like what we saw from the Gamecocks in their recent road trips against Alabama and Oklahoma. So that's why I'm leaning towards South Carolina here, still at -6.5, but it's not a spot that I'm necessarily in love with. What I really like in this game is that over 45.5. That seems like way, way, way too low of a total if you ask me, guys. I'm expecting plenty of offense in this game, whether it's through the ground or on the air. I think both teams are going to score, so definitely give me the over in this one. And we've got both teams showing trends to the over as well. Next on the docket, guys, we're going to look at the UNLV Rebels. They're going on the road to take on the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors, guys. UNLV comes into this game 6-2 on the season, fresh off a very tough loss. They're a 29-24 loss against number 17 Boise State. They were riding a 2-game winning streak coming into that one, but they weren't quite able to make it there at the end. So yeah, rough stuff there from UNLV. They're going to be in a bounce back spot for this one, obviously, but yeah, they kept things very close against an impressive Boise State team for sure, but the problem was they just didn't have a lot of answers there for Genty. But yeah, there were also some other problems, guys. Williams didn't have a great day throwing the ball for UNLV. 179 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he was picked off once and only completed 12 out of 21 passes, so that wasn't great. He was more concentrating there on the running game, 105 yards on the ground there on 19 carries and a touchdown. So some positives, some negatives, guys. They're asking a lot of him, and a lot of the times he's delivering, so got to give the dude credit, but he could use a little bit more help out there. We didn't see anybody else look particularly dominant in the running game. I mean, Jaden Thomas, 7 carries, 43 yards for him. Not terrible. Ricky White III had 5 receptions for 57 yards, but just not a dominant day out there for the UNLV offense. On defense, guys, they did a great job against the pass, giving up only 209 yards through the air and 1 touchdown. But like I said, guys, didn't have a lot of answers there for Genty. Not that anyone does. They didn't have a lot of answers for Maxon Madsen. The quarterback weren't able to stop him from running the ball. So definitely run defense a concern there for UNLV as they go on the road here to take on Hawaii, who's 4-5 on the season. So not having an amazing time. They have won their last 2 games, but taking down Nevada and winning at Fresno by 1 point. Not exactly going to be lighting the beacons there about those 2 wins, but giving Hawaii something to feel good about here in that win at Fresno last week, guys. It was a 1-point win at 21-20. So yeah, great stuff there. I mean, we saw the passing game for Hawaii looked great. 244 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. So not too bad there. The running game wasn't terrible, but wasn't amazing. When you total it all up, 102 yards and 36 carries. Doesn't look that impressive. We did see, in the receiving group, guys, there were some big performances. So definitely some positives to build on for Hawaii. They did turn the ball over twice in that game, though, and against Fresno, that's not a great look. They were very, very good on defense. They stifled the pass and the run. So yeah, Fresno really couldn't get anything going. They didn't turn the ball over at all, so Hawaii actually lost the turnover battle. But generally speaking, a good game for Hawaii, although it does feel like they were a little bit lucky to win, especially outscoring Fresno State 14-0 there in the 4th quarter. So looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Rainbow Warriors are getting 12.5 points playing at home. We've got an over-under of 50.5 out there. UNLV, they're 5-3 against the spread this season, 4-4 to the over-under. Hawaii, 5-4 against the spread. They're 7-2 this season to the under. Guys, I like UNLV here minus 12.5. It can be tricky having a big performance on the road against Hawaii, but if there's any team in the MWC that's up for the task, it's either Boise State here or UNLV. The Rebels don't have margin for error as they can't lose any more ground in the conference standings if they want to make the title game. We like the fight UNLV showed in their competitive loss against Boise State in their last outing, and the Rebels have had extra time to prep for this matchup, which should help their cause. Hawaii has looked better in recent results, but we're still not completely bought in on this group. Hawaii ranks 113th in the nation in scoring, which will make it rough to keep pace here with the Rebels. So definitely liking UNLV here to win by a couple touchdowns. In terms of that over-under of 50.5, I would tend to lean slightly towards the under, but not an over-under spot that I love. Rounding into the home stretch here, guys, we are looking at number 9 BYU. They're going on the road to take on the Utah Utes here in a Big 12 showdown. BYU comes into this game still undefeated on the year, 8-0 overall. That's why they're ranked 9th in the nation. They haven't played the toughest schedule, though, so that's why they're not ranked higher. They do have that win over then number 13 Kansas State, but yeah, not a lot of other huge wins. Last week, they got the win 37-24 over UCF, and that was on the road, so, not a bad win there at all. Gotta give the Cougars some credit there. They played well in that game. They did, get outscored 14-3 there in the fourth quarter to make things a little bit closer, but we saw good stuff there in the passing game from BYU. 228 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So you love to see that. The running game was truly dominant out there for the Cougars, guys. All totaled up 51 carries, 252 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So, yeah, BYU, they're going to be looking to run the ball. That's what they're going to do. They're handing the ball off, and they're going to try and beat you there in the trenches and with the running game, and they do have the horses to do it, guys. So, yeah, expecting good stuff there from the BYU running game at all times. In terms of the receiving group, guys, I mean, Chase Roberts did have a 62-yard catch, so, some positive things there, but not a team that's going to concentrate that hard on the passing game. They did fumble the ball away once, so that is a concern, but on the other side, guys, they played dominant defense. They created 2 turnovers of their own, so that's nice. They did give up a good amount there against the run, so that's a little bit troubling, but they were dominant in pass defense, and just generally speaking, guys, this BYU defense has not been a problem this season. They are, 24th in the nation, giving up only 19.6 points per game, so that's looking pretty nice. They're going to be looking to play even better here, taking on the Utah Utes, who are 4-4 in the season. After getting off to a 4-0 start, they've now gone on quite the skid, losing 4 straight. They lost last week at Houston, 17-14, so that cannot feel amazing, but yeah, I mean, at 1-4 in Big 12 play, the Utes really not having a super fun time out there in their loss at Houston, guys. It wasn't looking great. They just didn't have what it took there in the passing game. I mean, 13 of 22, 171 yards, 1 passing touchdown. They also had 1 interception in the game, so yeah, just not an amazing passing day. Didn't love what we saw in the running game either. No huge runs out there. I mean, Micah Bernard, 14 carries, 51 yards. Just not getting a lot of offense done in this game. So, yeah, didn't look great. They also turned the ball over a total of 2 times. And on defense, they gave up 2 passing touchdowns against Houston. That's pretty hard to do. They gave up 228 rushing yards, so they weren't up to, standing up against that Houston rushing attack either. So, just overall, a down day there for the Utah Utes. Not something you love to see. So, looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we shockingly see here the Utes are only getting 2.5 points playing at home. We've got an over-under of 40.5. BYU is 7-1 against the spread this season. They're 6-2 to the over. Utah is 2-6 against the spread. They're 7-1 to the under. Guys, go ahead and give me BYU in this one. They've been undervalued by the odds makers all season long, and this appears to be the case once again this week. Although this is a rivalry game where anything can technically happen, I find it tough to make a case for Utah given how they've fallen off, losing 4 straight along the way, and the Utes had to commit to their young backup quarterback here, Isaac Wilson, who hasn't been amazing. So definitely give me BYU here at anything under a touchdown. I think they're going to be in very good shape. In terms of the over-under in this game, guys, I'm probably shading just a little bit here towards the under, but yeah, this is a very low total. Obviously, both teams are going to want to run the ball, but I do think BYU has the potential to just run over the Utes in this game. So we'll see what happens, and it's a rivalry game, so I would probably stay away from this over-under. Last but not least, guys, we have the Utah State Aggies. They're going on the road to take on number 21 Washington State. The Aggies coming to this game, guys, only 2-6 on the season. They did get a win last week at Wyoming, so something positive to look at, but this team has straight up not been having an amazing time this season. I mean, in that win over Wyoming, one of their few successes of the year, they did manage to put up 27 points. Not like that's a crazy number, but yeah, we saw Petras throw for 2 passing touchdowns, complete 25 of 39 passes, and not get picked off, so all positives there. We saw Frazian, 23 carries, 131 yards, and a touchdown for him, but keep in mind, guys, this all came against Wyoming. Not exactly a team that's being regarded as even mediocre college football team, guys. They're 1-7 on the season. So, yeah, not going to be freaking out here about Utah State having a good game against them. They did manage to, abstain from turning the ball over, so that's a nice thing. And on defense, guys, they only gave up 25 points, which doesn't feel like an insanely good number. They generated a couple turnovers, so that's good. They did give up a lot of running yards, so that's a big concern here. You can't be, giving up tons of rushing yards. And over the course of the season, guys, this defense is giving up 41.5 points per game. So definitely not what I would call an elite defense. And they're going to have to play like an elite defense here playing against Washington State. The Cougars are 7-1 this season. They come into this game fresh off a 29-26 win there at San Diego State. The week before that, they obliterated Hawaii. So we'll see what they can do in this one. Their only loss this season was by a considerable margin there at then number 25 Boise State. So we'll see what the Cougars can do in this one in their 29-6 win on the road last week. Obviously liked what we saw there, especially in the fourth quarter. They put up 15 points. That's that's pretty good. Yeah, the passing game was online, guys. 257 yards to the air, 2 touchdowns. The running game didn't look insane necessarily, but a couple rushing touchdowns there as well. And yeah, got some good stuff going there in the passing game. We did see them turn the ball over once. There was one fumble there by Tony Freeman that got lost, but other than that, not a bad day out there for Washington State. They played well down the stretch when it mattered the most, despite playing on the road. On defense, guys, they did okay. They faced a plethora of passing options there from San Diego State, but they managed to hold up okay. They had an interception, only gave up 1 passing touchdown, and they were also, I'll say, decent but not great against the San Diego State rushing attack. I mean, they gave up 78 yards and 2 touchdowns there on 18 carries to Cooper, so that's not an amazing look. Definitely something to tighten up there, and we also didn't see, Washington State generated just that 1 turnover, so not an amazing day, but over the course of the season, guys, I'm not going to say this Cougars defense has been, amazing, but they haven't been atrocious, giving up 26.9 points per game despite playing some tough competition. And this is definitely an offense first team. So looking at the numbers for this one, guys, we see Washington State playing at home. They're favored by 20.5. We have an over-under in this game of 70. Yeah, 7-0. College football can be crazy, guys. Utah State 2-6 against the spread this season, 5-3 to the over. Washington State 5-3 against the spread, 5-3 to the under. Guys, go ahead and give me the Washington State Cougars here at minus 20.5. This is mostly a pick against Utah State's terrible defense than anything else. Utah State 133rd in the nation in points allowed, giving up 41.5 points per game on average. We expect Utah State to get shredded by Washington State's offense, and it'll be a challenge keeping pace. Utah State ranks 13th in the nation in scoring average, and they should have a very nice day there offensively in this specific matchup. In terms of that over-under of 70, guys, I don't have a lean on that. I just want to lean under, but that's just too big of a number because that just seems like too big of a number, but not an over-under spot that I'm really going to care about too much. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Thanks for watching. You can click the link in the description to check out stumpthespread.com, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.